Hello everyone, and today we'll be talking about how to solve single variable expressions, except now we will be talking about when they are in fractions. The first step, whenever you see this problem and you see that there is a mixed fraction, this is called, let me use this in a brighter color, this is called a mixed fraction. You now have to make this into an improper fraction. So let's just rewrite the entire equation. 4x is equal to, now what we do is we multiply the coefficient by the denominator and add the numerator. Don't forget that. So 2 times 3 is going to be equal to 6. 6 plus 2 is going to be 8. So the numerator is going to be, let me write that better, 8. And so now the denominator is still going to be equal to 3. Well, now we need to find out what x is and 4 are bound by. If you are confused by this, go to my Intro to Algebra video. Well, 4 and x are bound by multiplication, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So let's rewrite the expression. 4x is going to be equal to 8 divided by 3, and now we're going to multiply by 1 over 4. Multiply by 1 over 4. 1 over 4 times 4 is just going to be equal to 1, so that leaves us with x is equal to 8 times 1 is equal to 8 divided by 3 times 4 is equal to 12. You can simplify this. 8 and 12 have a common factor, which is the greatest common factor, GCF, which is 4. So you divide both sides by 4. And of course, we're not changing the fraction, because when you multiply or divide by 1, we're basically essentially dividing both sides by 1. It's just an easier way. So 8 divided by 4 is going to be equal to, 8 divided by 4 is going to be equal to 2, and 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. Now on to the next one. Over here, this problem is a bit different, because the last problem we had, when we first saw the problem, it was in a mixed fraction. But now there is no mixed fraction, so all you need to do is find what x and 12 are bound by. So let's go ahead and copy the problem down. X divided by 12 equals 1 divided by 4. And x is bound by 12 by division, so you multiply both sides by 12. Here, let's multiply it by 12. And 12 times 1 over 12 is just going to be equal to 1. So that leaves us with x equals. Okay, so now we just multiply the numerators. This is actually 12 over 1. So 1 times 12. We just multiply the numerators, which is 12. And 4 times 1, just the denominators, which is 4. But they have a common factor of a greatest common factor of 4. So we're going to divide both sides by 4 over 4. So that's basically, you just 12 divided by 4 and 4 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3, and 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1, which can be simplified to just 3. So here, x is equal to 3. And last one, now we've introduced decimals. So since there are no mixed fractions, we have to make them. So here, 0.9 in decimal form literally means 9 over 10. Here, let's just write this x here. And 5.4 is just 5 and 4 over 10. So now we do have a mixed fraction. So now we just rewrite the equation. 9, let's see some room. 9 divided by 10, x is equal to, well, you multiply by the coefficient by the denominator and then add the numerator. So 5 times 10 is 50. 50 plus 4 is 54. And the denominator is going to still be equal to 10. I don't know what's going on here. 10. And so now we have to find what x is bound by. Now here's the problem. It's bound by two things. Well, let's pick one. It doesn't matter. So let's break this down. All right. So it's multiplied by 9 divided by 10. So this is a bit of a tricky scenario. Feel free to pause the video and think about this yourself and see how you can solve this. Excuse me. Welcome back. Hopefully you had some careful consideration. Now, instead of multiplying, if it's, let's say this is just regular 10, we multiply by the reciprocal of 10. And just a refresher, a reciprocal, if we were to have, let's say, 6 divided by 5, the reciprocal will be 5 divided by 6. So now, if you multiply 6 divided by 5, 6 over 5 times 5 over 6, you multiply by the numerators, multiply by the denominators, and I'll assure you, if you work this out, this will just be equal to 1. So just take my word for it, and we can do the exact same thing here. So we multiply the fractions by the reciprocal of x, because it's multiplied, by 10 divided by 9, and then multiply this side by 10 divided by 9. And like I told you over here, this is just going to be equal to 1, so you can just have this big giant x here. This is just equal to 1. And so we write down the equation as still x is equal to, this is going to be a bit of difficult math, but I'll show you a shortcut. We are basically going to say 54 divided by 9 times, so we're basically, I grabbed this one and this one. It's exactly the same thing using properties of multiplication. 10 divided by 10. Well, 10 divided by 10 is still 1, so that's, we don't need that. So the problem here is x is equal to 54 divided by 9. Because when we are multiplying by 10 and dividing by 10, you don't need to redundantly multiply. Now, 54 divided by 10, if we know our multiplication tables, here, let me just scroll down, x, is equal to 6. And I hope that's helpful.